of binyan, building. Amar Rabbeinu Zimchon Racha. The Gemara says in the Sechet Yevamot 63a, Kol ha'asek b'binyan mitmasken. Whoever is busy with building a house, he becomes ani, he becomes poor. Why? Because he says most of the time when a person makes a budget to build, he ends up using what? Double that budget. Ends up being, he plans to spend about this amount, ends up spending even double that. So he says, when you want to build something, you have to have in your plans that whatever your planned budget is, really do double of that budget. Because a lot of times things come up, things break, things are messed up. I heard stories even where a person, he let workers work and they didn't do the pipes right and they already closed the wall. And they built and they started putting moldings already. And the guy came in and he said, what are you doing? The water doesn't work, the piping is wrong. So they had to go and they broke the whole wall. They already did half a job. They broke the whole thing and they had to do it again. So you see that a person, when he's building, he should be careful not to become poor from his building, and he should budget in at least double before he starts. He says, therefore, if you use double, if you have double the budget, go into it. If not, don't do it. Your store builds your house, and not the house builds your store. So therefore a person has to know that his store has to have the means to be able to support such a house. He says that second of all, a person has to make sure sheikne adam binyan banui shuhu davar shuhu lo kitzba nimtza liknot bezor v'lo tirha. He says it's better to buy a built house than to build your own house because it's a lot of headache, and he says it's going to be less what's called bothersome. However, according to the Zohar, Pashat Razriya, he says en liknot beit banui ma'akum afilu bechinam. He says, however, from a goy, you should not buy a house from a goy that was built by a goy, even for free, says the Zohar. Why? He says, sha'akum shebonem beito maskir aleh Hashem avodah zarah. He says, most likely, most of the times when they build their houses, they build it for the avodah zarah, and they infuse into the walls, into the building, the actual tumah of the Yoetz, so therefore, of the avodah zarah. So therefore, he says, a person should go out of his way not to have sitra achra in his house. Rather, he should have Ivrei to build his house. Preferably, he should have Jews to build his house, and to have at least good kavanah, not avodah zarah. So therefore, he says a person has to make sure that he goes out of his way to do that. He says also, Yizayer me'od mi'isur shedashu barabin la'aniach goy livnot b'shabbat. He says a lot of people, they have the leniency, they think there's a leniency to go and give the goy to build his house on Shabbat, which is asur, and we know that the poskim say in Siman Resh Mem Daled, the Maran writes a house that was built by a goy in a asur way on Shabbat, it's forbidden to enter that house. It's forbidden to benefit from such a house because it was doing through desecration of Shabbat. So therefore, a person has to make sure to go and to do it the right way. And the last thing he mentions is if Hashem blessed you to have a lot of parnasah, you should leave a place in your house, a room, for service of Hashem. People have a library, people have a study. You should have a place where you have books, so you could sit there and meditate and learn and have quiet time for you to connect to Hashem. And a person should realize that what's the point of building the house? The point of building the house is to have a place to do mitzvot and to raise your family. A lot of times you can have the Yoetz of saying, he has this driveway, I have to have a bigger driveway. He has these moldings, I have to have moldings upon moldings. He has, this brick, I want to have a cooler brick, right? He has, you use this much space, I have to have even more space. I have to have bigger. Why? In order to keep up with everybody else. He says the point of the whole house is for to do mitzvot, to connect to Hashem, and a person should not forget the purpose, and he should remember that all these things Hashem blessed him. The Rambam writes, Hashem only gave you all these beautiful parnasah in order for it to be able to do another mitzvah. The reward of one mitzvah is another mitzvah, so therefore we should utilize the parnasah Hashem gave us in our house to do more mitzvah.